husband left after the baby cried, but giant Apache took them in. From now on, you are mine. The baby's cry cuts through the morning air like a blade, piercing and raw and wrong. Sarah clutches the screaming infant against her chest, her body still aching from 3 days of labor, milk stains spreading dark across her nightgown. Through the cracked blinds of the farmhouse window, she watches Danny throw his duffel bag into the pickup bed with the same careless motion he uses to toss feed sacks. "Danny, please." Her voice cracks over the baby's wails. "Danny, don't do this." He stops moving for just a second, his back still turned to the house. "I can't, Sarah. I just can't. She's your daughter. Look at her." Danny's voice carries across the dirt yard, flat and cold. "Look at what we made." Sarah looks down at the tiny face twisted in pain. One eye sealed shut by birth trauma, a cleft splitting the small lip in half. The crying grows louder, more desperate, as if the baby knows what's happening. Sarah rocks back and forth, her bare feet cold against the kitchen linoleum. "We can figure this out. The doctor said there are surgeries, treatments." The doctor said a lot of things. Danny slams the tailgate shut. "Didn't say she'd be like this." "Like what?" "Broken." The word hits Sarah like a physical blow. She presses her face closer to the window, watching her husband of 3 years move around the truck with mechanical efficiency. He won't look toward the house. Won't look at them. "Danny, don't you dare walk away from us." But the truck door slams, and the engine turns over with a rumbling cough. Sarah watches through tears and cracked glass as the man who promised to love her through everything drives toward the main road without looking back. The dust cloud hangs in the morning air long after his taillights disappear behind the cottonwood trees. The baby's wails echo through the empty rooms. Sarah sinks to the kitchen floor, her legs giving out completely. The silence between cries feels heavier than the sound itself, pressing down on her shoulders like the weight of the entire sky. She's alone now, completely, utterly alone with a damaged child in a house that suddenly feels too big and too quiet and too far from everything that matters. The milk sours in the refrigerator. Sarah hasn't slept since Danny left, moving to the farmhouse like something already dead. She feeds the baby every 2 hours, changes diapers with mechanical precision, and rocks the wooden cradle Danny built last spring, when everything still seemed possible. Her daughter. She hasn't named her yet. Can't seem to find words that fit. The phone rings twice on the second day. Sarah doesn't answer. The mailbox fills with sympathy cards from church ladies who heard about the birth, but not about Danny's departure. She reads none of them. The world outside these walls feels like something that happened to someone else. On the third morning, the crying stops. Sarah finds her daughter staring up from the cradle. One good eye fixed on something beyond the cracked ceiling plaster. The silence stretches until Sarah's ears ring with it. She lifts the child, expecting a familiar weight of wailing, but the small body feels different. Calm, watching. "What is it, baby?" Sarah whispers. "What do you see?" The infant doesn't cry, just breathes, just watches, as if she's listening to something Sarah can't hear. Sarah carries her to the front porch, settling into the rocking chair that belonged to Danny's grandmother. The sun beats down on the dirt yard, and heat mirages shimmer above the cattle guard. In the distance, red mesa walls rise like ancient monuments to things forgotten. What are we going to do now? The baby's good, eye tracks movement in the scrub brush. Sarah follows her gaze and sees him, a figure walking along the fence line, too far away to make out clearly. Tall, dark, moving with purpose across the empty landscape. Sarah pulls the baby closer, her pulse quickening. Who is that? The figure pauses at the far corner of the property, turns toward the house. Even at this distance, Sarah feels watched, studied. The baby makes a soft sound, not quite a cry, not quite a sigh. The man raises one hand, not waving, just acknowledging. Then he continues walking, disappearing behind the cottonwoods like smoke. The baby's eye follows his path long after he's gone. He appears at the gate the next morning like he materialized from the red earth itself. Sarah watches from the kitchen window as he stands motionless beside the cattle guard, hands at his sides, waiting. He's massive, easily 6.5 feet tall, with broad shoulders stretching a faded work shirt. His black hair hangs past his shoulders, and his skin holds the deep bronze of generations under the sun. The baby coos from her basket on the counter. It's the first sound she's made since the crying stopped. Sarah checks the locks on the doors, then remembers this is ranch country. Nobody locks anything. She moves to the front window, her bare feet silent on the wooden floors. "Can I help you?" she calls through the screen door. "Your husband's gone." His voice carries across the yard despite the low tone. Not a question. A fact. That's none of your business. "Baby's sick." Sarah's breath catches. "How do you know that?" I can hear her spirit crying, even when she's quiet. Sarah steps onto the porch, the baby tight against her chest. The man hasn't moved from the gate, but his presence fills the entire yard. His eyes are dark as obsidian, unblinking. "What do you want?" "To help." "I don't need help." "You haven't eaten in 3 days. Haven't slept. Haven't named her." The words hit like physical blows. Sarah's knees weaken, but she forces herself to stay upright. "You've been watching us." "I watch over things that matter. We don't matter to you. You don't even know us." "I know you're alone. I know she's dying inside that perfect little body. I know you're afraid." The baby makes a soft sound, not quite a cry, not quite a sigh. The man's eyes shift to her, and his expression gentles almost imperceptibly. "What's your name?" Sarah asks. "Joseph, but folks call me Giant." "Giant what?" "Just Giant." Sarah looks down at her daughter, then back at the man who seems to fill the horizon. Something in his stillness feels safe, ancient, like the mesas themselves. "Why would you help us?" "Had a daughter once. Lost her when she was about this size." "I'm sorry. Wife left after. Said I couldn't protect what mattered most." The parallel hits Sarah like a punch to the chest. She walks to the gate, her hand trembling on the latch. "What happened to her?" "Your daughter?" "Fever took her. Nothing I could do but hold her while she slipped away." Sarah opens the gate. Giant steps through like he's been waiting his whole life for this moment. "Her name is Hope," Sarah says quietly. "Hope." Giant nods once, pulling a leather pouch from his pocket. Then we begin. 2 weeks pass like seasons. Giant comes every morning at sunrise, leaves at sunset. He fixes the broken fence post Danny never got around to, replaces the rotted boards on the porch, and teaches Sarah to make poultices from desert plants for her hopes. Cleft lip, his hands move with careful precision, whether he's mending wire or grinding herbs between smooth stones. The baby grows stronger. Her sealed eye opens partially, revealing a cloudy blue iris that tracks movement. She stops the silent watching and begins to make small sounds, not cries, but something closer to songs. Soft warbling notes that rise and fall like wind through canyon walls. "She's getting better," Sarah says one evening as Giant prepares to leave. "She was never broken, just lost." "What about me?" Giant pauses in gathering his tools. "What about you? Am I lost too?" "That's for you to decide." Sarah rocks Hope on the porch, watching Giant walk the fence line back toward the mesas. He never says where he lives, never mentions family or work or anything beyond this place, this moment, this careful tending of wounded things. The next morning, Sheriff Kowalski drives up in his patrol car, dust trailing behind him like a warning. Sarah's stomach drops. "Morning, Sarah. Heard you got some help around here." "Just a friend." "Friend got a name?" "Joseph." "Joseph, what?" Sarah shifts Hope in her arms. "Didn't ask." "Well, maybe you should." Got some folks in town asking questions. Wondering about a big Indian hanging around young mothers whose husbands ain't home. People need to mind their own business. People need to stay safe. "You know anything about this Joseph character? Where he comes from? What does he want?" "He's helping with repairs." "That's all." Sarah looks down at Hope, who's making her soft singing sounds. The baby's partially open eye focuses on something beyond the sheriff's shoulder. Sarah follows her gaze and sees Giant standing in the tree line, motionless as stone. "That all, Sarah?" The sheriff's hand rests on his gun belt. Not threatening, but ready. Sarah realizes she's standing at a crossroads she never saw coming. The outside world sees danger where she's found salvation. They see a threat where she's found healing. "Yeah," she says finally. "That's all." Sheriff Kowalski nods, but his eyes stay hard. "Well, you call if you need anything. Real help, I mean." He drives away, leaving Sarah alone with hope and the weight of a choice she's not ready to make. The sheriff returns 3 days later, but he's not alone. Danny sits in the passenger seat, his face hard as granite, jaw set like a man preparing for war. Sarah watches from the kitchen window as they both get out, boots crunching on gravel, moving toward the house with purpose. "Sarah," Danny calls out, "I'm here for my daughter." She doesn't answer. Hope sleeps peacefully in her basket, making those soft singing sounds that have replaced the crying. Her cleft lip has started to heal, the sealed eye opening wider each day. "Sarah, open this door. I know you're in there." Sheriff Kowalski pounds on the screen. "Come on now. Man's got rights to his own child." "Heard she's fixed now," Danny shouts. "Heard some Indians has been working magic on her." "Well, magic or not, she's still mine." Sarah clutches Hope tighter, backing toward the rear of the house. But the kitchen door opens without warning, and Danny steps inside like he still owns the place. There she is. His eyes lock on Hope. "Look at that. Pretty as a picture now." "Get out." "I'm taking her home, Sarah. Taking her where she belongs." "You left us. You walked away." "I made a mistake. I'm fixing it now." Giant shadow fills the doorway behind them before anyone sees him coming. Danny spins around, his hand moving instinctively to his belt. "You need to leave," Giant says quietly. "Like hell I do. That's my daughter." "She's not yours anymore." Danny draws his gun, the metal catching sunlight through the dirty windows. Sheriff Kowalski steps back, his own hand hovering over his holster. "Now hold on," the sheriff says. "Nobody needs to get hurt here." "Damn right nobody gets hurt," Danny snarls. As soon as his freak backs off, Giant takes a step forward. Danny's finger tightens on the trigger. Sarah sees it all happening in slow motion, sees the choice the sheriff has to make, sees which side he picks when he doesn't draw his weapon. The gunshot echoes through the kitchen like thunder. When the smoke clears, Danny lies on a linoleum floor, blood pooling beneath his chest. Giant stands over him, completely still, as if violence is just another form of healing. "From now on," Giant says, looking directly at Sarah, "you are mine." Sarah nods, understanding finally that her old life is truly dead. Sarah folds Hope's tiny clothes into a canvas bag, each item a memory of the life she's leaving behind. Giant stands in the doorway, watching her pack the remnants of what used to matter. Sheriff will be back soon, with more men. "I know. We need to go now, to my people's land." Sarah looks around the kitchen where Danny fell, where blood still stains the floorboards despite her scrubbing. How far? High mesas. Day's walk. What about the ranch? Land doesn't belong to anyone. Just borrows us for a while. Sarah lifts Hope from her basket, the baby's eyes bright and clear now, both of them open and tracking. Will we be safe there? Safer than here. Will they accept us? Your people. Giant shoulders Sarah's bag without being asked. They'll accept what I bring them. They walk across the yard where Sarah first saw Giant standing at the gate. The morning sun climbs over mesa walls, painting everything gold and red. Hope makes her soft singing sounds, her tiny hands reaching toward Giant as he leads him away from the only home Sarah has ever known. The path winds upward through scrub brush and red stone, climbing toward ancient places where Giant's grandmother once worked her healing magic. Sarah's legs shake from exhaustion and blood loss, but Giant matches her pace, never hurrying, never leaving her behind. What happens now? Sarah asks as they crest a ridge. Now you learn what it means to be protected. And Hope learns to be strong. They reach a valley hidden in the high country, where smoke rises from cooked fires and children play in the dust. Women emerge from adobe houses, their faces curious but not unwelcoming. An elderly woman with silver braids approaches, her eyes taking in Sarah and Hope with ancient wisdom. Your granddaughter? She asked Giant in accented English. My family now. The old woman nods, reaching for Hope with practiced hands. The baby goes to her without fear, gurgling contentedly as weathered fingers trace the healing scars on her lip. She'll be a singer, the woman says. Strong medicine in this one. Sarah watches Hope settle into the grandmother's arms like she's been waiting her whole short life for this moment. For the first time since Danny left, Sarah understands she hasn't just found safety. She's found home.